Today we're gonna look at perhaps one of the most poorlaid races. They are fur-ears people who have integrated quite well into Eorzean society. But many also still live in their own cultural ways. They arrived during the catastrophe of the Fifth Umbral era. I have a feline you're gonna enjoy this tale. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the lovely Miqo'te. G'day there friends, today we're looking at what is, according to some very unbelievably outdated and incorrect sources, the race that has a, quote, presence in Eorzea that is lesser to that of the other races. Perhaps this was true back in the Fifth Umbral era, but we all know that the Miqo'te have thrived and eclipsed the population of all other races by at least a factor of 2. The female population alone being more than all the here in all of Eorzea. What on earth could have led to such a population explosion? What is their culture like and how should I interact with them? Why am I so attracted to them? What? All this will be explained. But let us start by how they got here. It is well known that the Miqo'te arrived in Eorzea during the Fifth Umbral era, during a time when the oceans froze over. They migrated from somewhere. It is not known and the knowledge of this was lost to history. But then the Miqo'te were just a single people, very strong predators and hunters, following their food crossing the ocean. Only later splitting into the 2 main clans of Miqo'te we know today. When they arrived here, they noted that the local Eorzean language has 26 letters in their alphabet, and wouldn't you know it, there were 26 tribes of Miqo'te. So obviously this coincidence was taken as a sign by the Miqo'te that it was their manifest destiny to take over and rule all of Eorzea.
They're mine.
Thus they set out to do just that. Some Miqo'te left their clans and joined the many pirate clans and populace of the Limsa. Others still moved to entertaining in Ul'dah, with a warrior tribe nestling quite close by in the Sagoli Desert. More moved into the forests of Gridania and became poachers and regular nuisances of the Twin Adders, though many have left their poaching ways and now live within the walls of Gridania too. Lastly, a small tribe lives in the mountainous region just outside of the Gridanian wood, nestled snug between Gridania and Alamigo. The only region the Miqo'te were unable to migrate to was the Ishgardian lands of Corphas. Though in recent years Ishgard has opened their doors and allowed everyone in, resulting in an unprecedented flood of catboys and meow girls in their streets. Now, the observant among you may have noticed, wait a minute, their stronghold positions are very tactical and their numbers are huge in our cities. It's almost like an occupation? For yes, my friend, you are right. Unbeknownst to us, the Miqo'te have taken over. It seems the Miqo'te's fierce territorial nature has won them out and resulted in them being the dominant race. But how? How did nobody know this? How were we not able to fight back? The answer is truly surprising. The Miqo'te's greatest power and ally, Toxoplasma gondii, a tiny protozoan eukaryote. Somehow the Miqo'te were able to spread this parasite to the other races of Eorzea. This parasite can only breed in feline bodies or, as current research suggests, so long as they are in close proximity to a Miqo'te. Thus, if the host is not a feline, it would make their host attracted to Miqo'te and even seek Miqo'te out. So it would seem our fault was not by their ability to fight, for how can you lose to a race that sleeps 18 hours a day? No, we lost due to microscopic warfare. Even Ishgard in their isolation was not able to hold back the Miqo'te forever. As Miqo'te traditions bleed more and more into Eorzean traditions, and will eventually become dominant, allow me to explain the many different methods of handling Miqo'te. 1. What do you do if a Miqo'te brings you a murder present? If this occurs, the Miqo'te believes you are an absolute terrible hunter, a grave insult. It is best to either go hunt and find a equal sized or larger carcass, or just give them a lalafell. Number 2. What do you do if a Miqo'te stares at you unblinkingly for an extended period of time? This is a sign that the Miqo'te is tired and unable to become comfortable. It is best to place an empty box or basket near the Miqo'te. The saying, "If I fits, I sits," is deeply ingrained in them, and they would become much more comfortable when sitting in a box. Number 3. What do you do if a Miqo'te is purring calmly next to you? I know the temptation is almost overwhelming, but under no circumstance should you pet a Miqo'te. Though there are some that will just continue to purr and leave you be, there is a very good chance that you will activate their murder mode, resulting in them biting and clawing up your arms.
Oh, how I want to pet this Miqo'te.
Murder mode activated.
Now let's move on to talk about the two different clans of Miqo'te, the Seekers of the Sun and the Keepers of the Moon. Seekers of the Sun, oft identified by their slit pupils. All of these Miqo'te are born of one of 26 clans, listed here. These Miqo'te are highly patriarchal, and this can be seen in their naming. The males are given simple 1 or 2 syllable names, such as Bi or Raha. This short name is prefixed then by their tribe letter, so if Raha is born to the Griffin tribe, he becomes Guraha, to the Boar tribe, Biraha, and so on. Males never take on a family name, as each male is seen as the origin of a new family, and thus their last name actually becomes their breeding status, and can only be one of 2 things: a Noon, which means they're a breeding male, or a Tia, which means they get no poon. All males start as a Tia, and can only become a Noon when they challenge and defeat, often kill, a tribe's Noon. There is only ever 1, sometimes 2 if the tribe is sufficiently large, breeding males. Yes, that does mean that there is an average ratio of 10 to 50 females breeding with 1 male.
Mating up to 100 times per day.
The female names are a little different. They're often 2 or 3 syllables long, also prefixed by their tribe letter, but they take their father's name as a last name, showing who sired them. An example being Ga'amneko Raha, meaning Amneko of the Griffin tribe, sired by Raha. Keepers of the Moon, often identified by their large pupil and pronounced fangs. The Keepers of the Moon are also found throughout Eorzea, but lead far more solitary lives, and often live in very small communities of 1 to 3 families. These Miqo'te are highly matriarchal, and this can be seen in their naming. The females often have short 1 or 2 syllable names, and these names very closely resemble those used by male Seekers of the Sun. They keep their family name of their birth mother. The male names give quite the indication of how matriarchal of a society this is, for the males are not given names, but numbers. Their first name is always that of their mother, followed by a suffix indicating the order in which they're born. They take their mother's family name too. Finally, let's end on the greatest gift the Miqo'te have ever bestowed upon us. This single moment by Hishtola Rul.
Look into my eyes. Could it be? Could you be?
I am. Not interested, little son. Try again when you've become a man.
Little?
And that is what there is to know about Miqo'te. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and a comment. They help far more than you can believe for a tiny channel like this one. So goodbye then, friends, and have a great day.